and that is, I would say, a necessary condition for a bottom, but not sufficient.
Seen you a lot at the World
What I mean by
Economic
that
Forum,
is,
Mike.
the,
A
the
lot
market
of
is forward
had your
thinking,
lady
and
friend
so
out there doing the
valuations have come
commercials on
down
every single
in
one of these
anticipation
as
of
they
two
pound
things: the
through.
Fed hiking, and then of
A lot of
course
the numbers, the
earnings
Tensor
revisions
Cup,
to the downside. I
obviously you're
think
going to find a lot of the
our
fundamental
bearish call this
economics
year,
there.
people agreed with the
Harvard,
Fed part of it,
Yale,
but
one of them
we're
Ivy
really
League joints.
pretty
You
adamantly
know what it
opposed
is
to
there.
earnings risk. And I'd say the biggest change in the last 6 weeks is that now more clients are coming into the view that earnings got to come down. So this is the cat and mouse game. Multiples will lead again. So yes, I'm very much in the camp that this rally will fade. 4,200, maybe 4,300 if it can, go a couple more weeks.
From the beginning of my standpoint, there's always a diagram thing. It's like when they brought up Perkins on Fox not too long ago, it's not his multi-domain battlefield. This is not the war room about, I'm about to open up with a minigun down here that shoots photons and about to make a lot of people go away. And in the end of those things, the only thing that why you couldn't say that or do that is because of mass information. I mean, Hubble's deep field, but you don't get expansion short of people that play in economics and make amongst NASA's team, right? That's the ladder. You have to go through that, or at least parallel run the system, and you would still say there's a tune limit there about costs and timelines or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's the right way to think about it, Karen. I think it's actually almost name by name, so it's not.
I get to be Forrest smugging about that. You're going to get into it. Pipe hitters, just Suicide Squad back in the day on the ports, back in World War II with the Mafia. They're a syndicate. That business covers frame rates. They cover timelines. When I'm bearish about that, it's not necessarily that I'm bunny calc on it. It's a bunny's going to be very bearish about that bear being in the neighborhood, about how do you wiggle sniffer out there, and
it's just that technology companies were probably one of the biggest beneficiaries.
Gresham's law, in whatever form we put it to, is still left. You have to study Tesla, you have to study Edison or an LED players, otherwise your
semis are up 6% last
diode
month. So if anything, some of the most cyclical stuff
length
actually had a pretty decent rally. But I'd like to ask you about just the retail factor and flows. And some part of your job is at least to understand where positioning is. We had 80 billion come in through retail investors in the last 3 months, the same as the 80 billion that more or less came in
budget being a bizarrely large number, right? Like, you don't quantify the number on black hole, but actually it's an aggregate of military defense retirements.
Some of these flows. How do you feel about that?
And when they go long, and because they're down on this, sure, they'll bump back up, but we're still arguing projections over Tucker and Bill Nye the Science Guy, whether they should have happened, who was responsible for those slides, inverting it using the equipment of what was going on a Goldman Sachs case about the timber saw, right? It's a shitty product with a unit volume that is going to leave a bad taste in the mouth of Morgan Stanley, or at least defense stock about avoiding thereof. When Morgan Stanley is the big bear in there taking up all the big bear contracts when it's actually supposed to be take a step down. If they were that big, you're going to get a lot of fusion of integrating combinations and times comparatively to just picking up on the marshmallows in those middle steps that might have a couple of the science techniques in integrating Uber, DoorDash, and Ring. And using that as their sensor because that's theirs. Morgan Stanley's just going to have the overall X metrics of the little bear amounts today. This is what it's supposed to be. I don't know why she started ripping away, getting there, and having the Peacock get out there and tell somebody about it and think it's a good idea. Pin them in Australia or the EU in that market where it just really rips them down. Because remember, that's the fundamental. In the opening brief about you being the bush down there, or the bunny down there, that's your area of operation, your macro environment, about being able to put Morgan Stanley boss on notice about that calculation is not just, it's 142 is basically. Like he's hiding as the disguise of 142, and they got to do that work down there, punching a private, or not understanding the Sharps case of energy violations, not just necessarily by standard model, not just energy, not just that. I'm going to take you, we're just going to be just those sprinkles of Hubble's tensors and some real estate tensors or core control housing models. If the housing market was this starts to slow down, and this one ipso facto across whatever market variable, stocks have them, the middle aggregate of Fintechs and Nasdaq's technology sites as much as real estate. But
Mike Wilson of Morgan Stanley. Bonawyn, that means a haircut for a lot of stocks across the board, even the ones that you think are defensive. none are at 14. I don't want to say none.
Somebody,
not many
if
are
I did the
14
MTF
right now,
review of the smartest option is always to pull the two in,
no,
right? Who
aside
is
from the
supposed
builders,
to
and
be
I think
oil
there's
or
macroeconomic
lambda
risk there. I
inside
think
here?
we said it a few times. A few of the panelists
Because
kind of
realistically,
mentioned,
even if
you've
I
had
was
some guests
Pedro or
mention
Bones
that,
rolling
the
into the
home builders
neighborhood,
are trading in low
that
single
was
digits.
still
Some of the banks
what
are
it
trading in
was to what
high
that is.
single
Now there
digits. I
might
think
be
there are
holes
pockets.
where
I mentioned Pfizer
you
last
gotta
week
either
that's trading
figure
around
out
like
the
a
local site
9.5
where
or
you're
10.
going to want
I think there are
cover
distinct
that
names,
over.
like
And
you
you
said,
have
it's on a
weights and
name-by-name
plates like
basis
Morgan
where you
Stanley
are
or
below
some
that
situation
long-term
parallel.
average type
It's
of
easier
forward
to say,
multiple.
you know, I'll take my
But yes,
money and I'll
generally
invest
speaking,
it
I
in
think
there,
that
and
we're
we'll
just going to
establish
come
that.
down,
And that's the
both in
correct
terms of
model.
further multiple
That's,
compression.
I
We're at
put the
17 and a
money
half
up
times.
front
He's
with it. I'm
mentioning
playing
perhaps
the
14 or
timelines.
15
That means
times.
either my
And
power
then in terms of the
or
actual
the
earnings
timeline
that
starts
come to
to
fruit.
candle,
So,
it stick its way
yeah,
down
I think,
without making some kind
low
of
single
change, which
digits,
is a
mid-single
soft
digits, I
landing.
think
Now,
you're
if you get a lot of
relatively
that
safe
thing
there,
ripping,
but I think there's probably
you would have
downside
more
risk
sector
across the
analysis
board.
to do with, which
How do
gets
you
you
process
more
that, Karen? I mean, in
more
terms of your
Hubble
holdings of
tensors
Meta,
into
of
the situation
Alphabet, all
because
of them
you're
are
actually
trading above
tracking them.
14.
I don't need to,
I think Meta's
but if I
closest to
mathematically
16
did it for a
forward.
reason to track what, hopefully,
So
if
just
I
doing the
started
math
saying
roughly,
names
it
under
gets 15
sector,
and
but
3/4. I thought of what he was saying. If we're at 285 plus the
formula.
350 risk premium,
Right.
that gets me to about 15 and 3/4. I just think, some companies aren't going to be there. On average, they will, but I think companies
they'll
with the
have a
kind of
two-year
moat that
spread,
they have and the
is
business
often
they
what I'll
have,
say,
with the
but when you're
margins they
stretching me
have,
on those things, like I
and the
said, you don't have
cash.
to
If you
beat
back out
everybody
the
on
cash, they're in
calculations
fact
in here.
cheaper.
They
Probably
either
Alphabet,
the
not
team members ready to
Meta,
step
yes.
in, right?
So
Your
for
council
all that,
meeting,
I'm hanging on
I've seen
to it.
board
Yeah.
presentations.
I think you're getting
or
opportunities to trade the mega cap techs, and I think that's
there's
what
a
you
few
should be doing
models
here.
where
Look at
that's
Amazon
what
up 5%,
had
up
to have
20% in
had
5
happen.
days.
Had to
We have
have
this
had
stock
happen
split
somewhere in the
dynamic, I
past.
think, which, but again, a company that, relative to itself, not crazy expensive. That's the problem. My big problem is I need to see Apple at 125.
Yeah, that was a good one. There was another one about Apple. See, Apple's one of those things that they pretend to let you drive, kind of like the Peacock, really. What is it, Paramount there, Comcast? I don't even remember which one it is. But you get the chance. You get out here as a free American, and maybe that video comes up. Hey, maybe they even pull you in because you got a little lippy on the comments, and they want to give you a big, wet, squishy kiss. And, that's kind of what that is. Morgan Stanley here and JP Morgan are a bit out on it. And again, we are still operating. So in order to get out of that operation, you will need to operate given...
Take your business to new places
what will
with
be
5
the
times
same
membership
standing
rewards
models.
points on flights and
Marginal
prepaid
growth,
hotels
medium
booked on
growth,
AmexTravel.com with Amex
realistically,
Business Platinum.
low,
Built for business
way
by
too big
American
pull,
Express.
but it's speed in which you pull out. But equally, it's growing hyper growth inside of there. I want to be able to take everybody in the market and just be able to say out there on that video, look, this is not going right in the time frame for it to slide down to get back up to here, and still have the realization that something happened in the world is that stockholder had to have pulled out a lot of share for their name in the company, which has some board meat in legal tendencies and moral contracts. He's like, you just ship off the case to DC or something like that, and that's where it starts, right? And then so that's what happened, and some stuff happened. Not that you don't need that model, it's not a very good standard model for what you do with the practice of it. It deals with a lot of the DocuSign and teledocs and it all, but
web page for a pizza restaurant at neighbour to the MD.
It has nothing to do with DocuSign or teledocs or getting us, what do they got there? What are they called? Jeepers. They do DocTrain, not DocTrain. They do not Scribe. I forget what they're called. So I think it starts with an A. They do the paperwork for you. Sheldon would bring it up. But at any rate, again, it's almost impossible right from here unless I started breaking down the books. And then you're going to say, well, what's Tesla doing or Apple doing? And I would say, and to you right now, well, there's the first observation. I don't know how long you were compromised to this. Some people are not going to have a choice, but fully understand that there was photons at a point when things were a little bit squirrely about how things could work again if it's starting to be in that same orientation, or you start hearing the same birds twerping about what's going on out there in the cemetery. You may not fully understand that because your asset manager is doing that, and again, you want to make sure by paralleling. I don't really know for sure, but I can watch the Peacock, right? And I can check for some of the blinkety-winkities and not fully understand, here's that diagram I'm looking for. It'll come down, it'll come back up. Here are other versions in the past. That only way you can do that would be something that would be correlatable for more than likely just by gravity. It could have come from nowhere, it could have come from Paris Island, but in given economics, something like Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs, you just can't sack that building now because, it's institutionally Harvard and Princeton are good, but it's that runaway for now why you have problems with the cutting back when it really was just a contract inside of there that really anybody went to Harvard could have gotten the same degree from SUNY on projections but did not go, or comparatively say that number. And the science may say that the teacher in a SUNY school could potentially, it's a teacher, it's a stage, it's bookworks, and none of this is standardized as far as the 12th grade ASVAB or what is the SATs. And because you don't have situations like that, you're going to have a lot of problems. And this is about the bill now, and you're going to expect things to come up in Senate sometimes. These are very heavy conversations, and they're going to get into that level where you need proper rules of order to deal with the magnitude of information and the way you sort it. But there's no reason that any five or any situation or any one person sitting anywhere could not go about that track on the review for S&P. Where is it? What is the overall nature of the market? What has it been doing? Why, when he said Apple at the end of that, would that correlate to some reason that now you fully can photoelectric be able to observe and understand the hertz in, if you will? Catch you on the next one.